Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute rant. The topic of this 10-minute rant is a thing that, those Scottish Green Party, those who demand inclusivity for everybody, doesn't matter who you are, what sexuality you are, what gender you are, everybody's got to be inclusive. Well, it's a story about them and how and why they kicked 14 members of their party out, because we're not inclusive anymore, right? Now, if you want to support the channel, you can become a channel member, or you can subscribe, which is free, or you can just click the thumbs up when you see a video. That would be great. So this story, this is bonkers, right? This is in the Holyrood.com, which is a political and current affairs magazine. And Kirstine Patterson has written today, Scottish Greens expel gender rebels deemed a threat to trans members. Rebel members have been kicked out of the Scottish Green Party for declaring that sex is biologically reality. Let me repeat that. Rebel members have been kicked out of the Scottish Green Party for declaring that sex is a biological reality. Yeah, you did hear it right. Signatories to the Scottish Green Declaration for Women's Sex-Based Rights were accused of making the party less safe for trans and non-binary members in an official complaint. Now several members have been expelled with immediate effect by the ruling Conduct and Complaints Committee. They include long-standing activists who have spent decades campaigning for green politics, and I'll guarantee you they spent decades campaigning for green environmental politics, because that's what the Green Party was started to do. In documents seen by Holyrood, a total of 13 Scottish Green Party members were accused of breaching its code of conduct by signing the declaration, which was published online in November last year. The 8-point statement stated that sex is a biological reality, asserted that women have a right to maintain the sex-based protections enshrined in the Equality Act, said lesbians are same-sex attracted, and declared that women and girls have the right to discuss policies which affect them without being abused, harassed, or intimidated. It stated, "We know that globally women as sex are disproportionately affected by climate change and environmental degradation." Don't really understand what that means, but it's got plenty of buzzwords in it. And that their empowerment is essential to our work as environmentalists. The declaration was signed by current and former Scottish Green Party members and supporters. It doesn't actually seem that wild, that does it, the statement that they've signed their name to, but they get papped out the Scottish Greens for doing so. A total of 13 activists who put their names to it, included office bearers and other persons of seniority, were reported to the CCC, triggering a disciplinary investigation. Complaints including the then co-conveners of LGBTQI+ group, the Rainbow Greens, and a co-convener of its women's network said the signatories had failed to maintain political discipline, wit, and broken rules that prohibit the undermining of the party bullying, behaviours that constitute prejudice based on sexual orientation or gender identity, and behaviours that constitute a threat to others. What I'm going to have to look back up here, because I'm kind of struggling to see how even the most crazy of crazies could actually read what these people signed and contemplate that actually being threatening or bullying or any of the nonsense, a threat to others. They're actually, I mean, the worst thing they've said is sex is a biological reality. That's bullying. These people are nuts. Where did I get to? Now officials of the party, which since 2018 has had a rule which states that trans exclusionary individuals of any kind are not welcome as members. That's in their constitution. These people are fruitcakes. Trans exclusionary individuals of any kind are not welcome as members. Oh dear. I wonder if they've got any rules that say trans loonies or it's not even trans people actually, it's trans activists. See people, this is the worst thing, right? See most of these people that are going nuts over this whole trans issue, right? They're not trans. And I bet you a pound to a penny that if you could find a genuine trans person, sit them down and ask them about all this nonsense, a vast majority of them would be like, it's madness, isn't it? So is it virtue signalling, is that what they call it? This whole thing's went absolutely... I done a video earlier about the rules they've got in nursery schools in Glasgow about how to deal with kids 2, 3 and 4 year old that are wanting to come out. People are actually getting paid to write protocols for this nonsense. All of the group have been expelled. One of those to have his membership cancelled is David Jardine, who first became involved with the Greens in 1983. That's 40 years. The 72-year-old who rejects allegations of transphobia. I can't see them either, David. It's quite clear that the party didn't read the declaration very carefully or closely. All that it did was assert the right of women to advocate for a series of 8 beliefs that they had. It wasn't a demand that the party overturn policy, merely that people be allowed to speak without being harassed or pressurised. I'm kind of with you on this, David. Some of the women who signed the declaration did so anonymously. Some were members who didn't want to face a disciplinary, others were worried about their safety or their work. There's a photo of Patrick Harvey that's a wee bit sick, just came up there. Another grandfather, Toffer Dawson, who's been a member for a decade, he said, they seem to think that anyone who signed the declaration is transphobic. I have friends who are transgender women. It's simply that to stretch the definition of women to include people who are not women makes a mockery of all those sex-based protections that have been hard won by women for women. Kind of agree with you as well, Topher. There is no space to even discuss it. Anyone who attempts to raise the subject is hounded out. Dawson compared the party's tolerance for disagreement on the issue of sex-based rights to its position on independence. While the Greens are a pro-independence party, Dawson said there is acceptance within the membership of diversion opinion. He said it's quite acceptable within the party to express a unionist view. No one will give you a hard time for that. Bizarre, isn't it? I was proposing that being... I was proposing that being gender critical ought to be an acceptable position within the party, even though lots of people would disagree with that position. It's not a raison d'etre, I think I said that right, of the party. If I was a climate denialist, that would be unacceptable. The issue is the reason for the party's existence. But for this issue, it shouldn't make a break, but it's become that way. I tend to agree with you there as well, mate. I've been saying this for months. The Greens are not the Greens anymore. They'd be better just renaming as LGBTQ plus I .com Stoneball Hairy Party, because I'm not that bothered about about climate anymore. They've kind of forgot who they are. One of those who submitted a complaint, right, Ryan Donachie, he was obviously upset with the whole thing, has since left the Scottish Greens. In a statement in X, he said, the fundamental mistreatment of ordinary members by the party was intolerable, and suggested his resignation could act as a wake-up call to our leaders and underline the crisis in confidence that many members have in the direction we are currently being taken in. Now, that's a bit weird. He submitted a complaint and still buggered off. The document, in which MSP Ross Greer is cited as a witness, states that, given the serious nature of this complaint and the serious breaches of SPG COC Code of Conduct, the only appropriate action to be taken on this occasion is that all current members who are signatories on the declaration must be removed from the party with immediate effect to ensure the safety of all trans and non-binary members in the SGP. What do they think's going to happen? Where is any evidence of safety of any trans or non-binary member in jeopardy in anything that we've just read? A spokesman for the Green Party said, we can confirm disciplinary action was taken against 13 individuals over the breach of our membership policy. which has resulted in immediate expulsion from the party. The welfare of all our members is our primary concern. The CCC process found that members were in breach of a code of conduct. Next month is Pride Month, and we hope this decisive action will send a clear message that we stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community now and forever. There you are. Well, if I didn't really need any examples previously that Scottish Greens are potty, there it is there in front of me today. They have expelled members who basically want women to be protected. No, I can't have that. No. What about women that aren't women? You're bullying them. They're in fear and danger for the trans and non-binary people within their realm. So much that they've had to expel these people. There's such a danger to their LGBTQ plus. I had a discussion last night or the night before on Twitter X, a great thing, with a guy who was openly homosexual. He came onto the chat and it described himself in that manner. I asked him if it was alright to ask him a couple of questions about stuff that's going on just now. And he was telling me that the LGB community now feel as if this TQI thing's just been plugged onto the side and it's actually affecting them. And I feel there's an animosity growing between the gay, the bi community, and those that are now getting flung into the same basket, as it were, with the trans and non-binary and all that. And this guy he was a really nice guy, and he was putting his point across very, very well. He wasn't getting excited or anything, but I could guess that there was a sort of detesting of what's going on here. And I also discussed to him about the virtual signalling by MPs and MSPs, etc., tying herself to the whole pride, rainbow, LGBTQ, whatever. And he was agreeing with that, and he said that he actually doesn't enjoy it. He's like, I'm a gay man, get over it. And society today accepts me. He says, I don't hide it anywhere, my workplace, socially, family. He says, I'm well out there and I'm fine with life. I don't need MPs and MSPs to be throwing rainbow flags up every 10 minutes when they want to try and win my votes. So, bonkers, right? I mean, the whole thing, I'm actually going to speak to the guy and see about getting him on as a guest to sit and have a conversation with him about a half hour or so. So it was most interesting, get his side of it. I mean, heterosexual, if you need me to explain my sexual preferences. So, I like talking to people that I'm not and get their opinion on matters. I think it was actually an independence. I need to check that. I think we spoke about independence. I think at one point it was. It may not be any longer. But, it's interesting that these people are not impressed with either. So, if you enjoyed the video, get a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. But most importantly of all, unless you're these mad mental greens, right? See everybody else tonight. Have a great night. Cheery bye now.